Welcome to Around the Ring's Roadblock End of the Line 2016 YouTube exclusive review. I'm one half of your host, Dave Brown. I'm joined with, as always, by Floyd Johnson Jr. How you doing, sir?
I am doing well. It's not because of the show, but everything else seems to be doing okay in life. That was a great episode of Sunday Night Raw, and
yeah, pretty much. Now, this is every pay-per-view we do a special review the day after and post it up to our YouTube channel. Please do us a big favor, hit the subscribe button and hit the like button on those. And make sure to follow the show on the social medias. The handle pretty much everywhere is Around the Ring OK. And we drop episodes every Sunday, except this coming Sunday, which is Christmas, and we're going to be with our families doing Christmassy stuff. So we will drop that on Monday. But End of the Line, Roadblock. Yeah, it was a it was a show. It was entertaining. So
I mean, there was two really big spots, and we'll just go through the show like normal. There's two really big spots that made it watchable, and then two really big parts that made it watchable. But the rest of the show was,
Yeah, I'm not even gonna lie. I didn't get to watch it last night as it happened. I watched it this morning, and there were chunks that I just fast forwarded through. A lot of chunks I fast forwarded through. Like pretty much every backstage segment, I was like, nope, not gonna do it. And that's, I think, let's real quick before we get into the specifics. Overall, what did you think?
Overall, even the good matches weren't very good. They were clunky. Like, I expected more from specifically the Triple Threat match and the Iron Man match, Iron Woman match. I just thought they were going to be just these amazing performances, and maybe I built it up too much. And then like the Roman and Owens thing, it was expected. I mean, I did not have any problem with that, but it was just overall, the crowd was really good. Let me say that. The crowd seemed into it, but they seemed to react the same way we reacted to a lot of stuff, I think. Yeah,
I agree. I think overall it was an enjoyable show. I sat through it live and had to sit through everything, I probably would not have enjoyed it as much. But, you know, there were moments that were much better than others. Most of it was meh. I mean, it was not how you want to end the year, but traditionally, I mean, that December pay-per-view, well, I don't know, when it was TLC, sometimes it would be good just because that's always a train wreck of a show. But throwing in some extra, it's just meh. I mean, it is what it is. So let's go ahead and go through the matches. Did you watch the pre-show?
I watched the match on the pre-show.
Okay, so that was Big Cass taking on Rousseff. I did not watch this. How was it?
It was, honestly, you called it. Because I actually remember our predictions, and you said it was going to be some type of double kind of count out type thing. It was. Rousseff technically won, but what they did was Rousseff attacks Enzo, and Rousseff and Cass, they fight to the outside. They get me on the rails, and there's a count going. Well, he gets Cass away enough to attack Enzo. Cass goes to save Enzo. Enzo tries to tell him to get back in the ring, but by the time Cass goes to get back in the ring, he gets counted out.
Ah, yes.
No one really lost, but the Rusev won. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So it was no one had to look bad, basically, in that match. I did hear there is going to be a rematch tonight at the Raw, so we have that to look forward to.
So excited. I mean, in my voice.
Well, let's get to the meat of the pay-per-view. The show opened up with what I honestly think is the best match of the night. New Day defending the WWE Raw Tag Team titles against Sheamus and Cesaro. I thought Cesaro got a really nice reaction coming out. In fact, through the whole thing, Pittsburgh...
amazingly entertaining.
Do what? Say it again?
The match was amazingly and surprisingly entertaining.
It was so good. It was because there were lots of fun false finishes. It was really, really good. I really enjoyed it, and you were in a bad scenario because we both wanted New Day to hold on to those titles a little bit longer, if for no other reason so their title reign wasn't just a middle finger to Demolition, which is now what it kind of seems to be, even though I'm going to look at the brighter side and say they killed two birds with one stone. They had an act that was super over and got this tremendously long title reign because they absolutely deserved it, and as a plus, they got to stick it to someone who was suing them. But on the one downside about having the New Day have this extremely long title reign is there are other teams have suffered because of it. I mean, Gallows and Anderson are kind of dead in the water right now because they weren't able to beat the New Day because the New Day was going to have to break the record. So on the one hand, it's like, well, Cesaro and Sheamus are actually hot right now, and if you have Sheamus in the middle of something that's actually over, you almost have to run with it because Lord only knows how long that's going to last. And so they were kind of damned if they do, damned if they didn't in that situation. It's either make another tag team look bad or end the record. And
the storytelling device that I find that they're using too much is if whoever it is comes on before the match and says you can't beat me and you will never win, they're going to lose the match.
Yeah, they need to stop using that because that's overused.
Yeah, because both times, 2 of the 3 times Charlotte lost to Sasha, she stops in the middle of the ring in the match. You can't beat me. You'll never win. And then Sasha wins. And then it's just a whole, I think Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, he said that, Sami, you can't beat me. You'll never win. And then Sami Zayn wins. It's like it's been used so much in a short period of time. I'm not one of those people that like, if it's ever been used before, it's the most horrible thing ever. I'm just saying, you can't use it that much in such a short period of time.
Agreed. I loved the touch at the end when the New Day handed the titles to Cesaro and they embraced. I thought that was really cool. And then of course making Sheamus go more heely and getting the whole crowd to boo Sheamus and cheer Cesaro. And my God, Pittsburgh loves them some Cesaro. That was And
without a doubt, I mean, they love Cesaro.
And was it just me, or did you after that kind of feel bad for every other match this night? Because it's like, ooh, how do you follow that? Because that was really a great start to the show.
It was a great start, but like I said, I felt like you had places you could go. I really did feel like I didn't feel like they just blew everything else out of the water. I just thought a lot of people in the end underperformed.
Yeah, so let's go on. The next match on the card was Sami Zayn taking on Braun Strowman in a 10-minute time limit match. The time limit is something WWE rarely ever uses, so that was, I'm sure, jarring to some people. I thought this was a really slow match, but I liked the ending. It was. I mean, it's gonna. I'm sure they're gonna fight again at some point.
Well, my whole thing with the match, let me just say this. He didn't last 10 minutes. He lasted 7.5 minutes. Because you only put a 10-minute match on. You say, I'm going to put a 10-minute match on, which I'm fine with. I understand it. But 6 minutes, 7 minutes in the match, you take the next 3 minutes and stall. And then And then in that 10-minute match, the referee, the people are on the outside, and the referee, how long were they out there? A good 60, 65 seconds at least? Where was the 10 count?
Yeah, but how consistent are they really on the 10 count?
They aren't. Usually when there's action or whatever, they're not consistent. But that was so blatantly obvious a stall tactic. And it was just like, to me, that match, the purpose of the match should have been to get Sami Zayn over, right? Not win, but just kind of get him over about how, how resilient he is. And I don't think it did. With the whole Mick Foley stalling for him, he wasn't resilient. Mick Foley stalled, and then he was able to survive 2 more minutes. Which, like I said, as far as a storytelling device, it hurt Sammy more than it helped him.
I can see that. I wasn't looking that deeply into it when I was watching it, and I figured
Sami Zayn. So all.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm looking for a reason to like him.
And that match, if you don't like Sami Zayn, that match did not help you. It was interesting. We'll see what happens going forward. Next, we had Chris Jericho taking on Seth Rollins. Rollins won. I thought this was okay, but kind of slow.
There was the spot where Rollins went for the pedigree. Jericho tried to reverse it, and then he flipped it up into a powerbomb. Flipped up to a powerbomb position. Jericho kicks out of that, and then he goes into it and flips Rollins, and it ends in the walls of Jericho. I thought that was an amazing spot.
That was a great spot. That was very good.
Amazing spot. I was like, I don't know if they worked that before the match, but I'm like, I'm not a wrestler, but how do you call that? It was just pretty freaking awesome. I just thought, and I didn't think the announcers got over how impressive that was, because they went from a lot of positions to different positions. I know you're definitely pulling over as a competition, but I would have definitely replayed that and like, how did that happen, kind of thing. It was more impressive than anything as far as a spot, than anything that happened in the Cruiserweight match. And I only say that because I'm not trying to jump forward. I'm not going to talk about the Cruiserweight match, because you expect those type of spots from a Cruiserweight. And then you got Jericho and Rollins. Jericho is considered old, but that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, that was a cool spot. I kind of liked the spot in the New Day Cesaro Sheamus match where Cesaro, I forget what they were doing, but there was some jumping around, flipping, and it ended in a neutralizer. I thought that was pretty impressive too.
Yes, with Kid Kobe.
Yes.
Yes, some people had. I mean, I don't know out there. I'm guessing if you listen to our show, you either are a pretty hardcore fan or you know us personally. So when it gets down to it, you look at Kofi, and most people forget how good he is. He is by far the best wrestler in the New Day, and I'm not saying anybody in the New Day is bad, but he is that good. I always call him I called him the Black Billy Gunn, but now he's pretty much the Black Ziggler, because he could put on an amazing match any night and pull off these amazing things, but he generally, when it came to singles matches, he didn't win a lot.
Yeah, agreed. So next up, we did have the Cruiserweight title match, triple threat. Brian Kendrick taking on TJ Perkins, taking on the champion Rich Swann. Austin Aries was on commentary. I enjoyed that quite a bit. The thing that I thought was kind of sad about this, poor TJP got no reaction when he came out. Rich Swann got a decent enough reaction. Swann got the win. I thought this was a good match, but should have been a great match. And then the best part of this whole thing, Neville shows up out of nowhere.
And I've been saying that for how long? And this is one of those moments where I have to say, I learned from the WWE that they know what the hell they're doing sometimes, because I'm like, Neville should immediately be brought in the Cruiserweight division. But how they did it, they announced that he wasn't going to be a part of the Cruiserweight. There was no plans for him to be a part of the Cruiserweight division. And this big entrance, even he looked slimmer too. He actually came out looking slimmer. And it was just much more of a reaction and he came over and looked so strong. And like I said, if I wasn't going to watch CWC, I'm tuning in now.
Yeah, it was, and his heel turn was great. He needed something different. Now he just needs to get rid of that damn cape, because that thing is awful.
I was hoping that moment where he just kind of threw it off was that. I was hoping that's what it was. You know, like, I'm not going to wear this crap anymore. And I hope he does a somewhat, work shoot type thing where he talks about how stupid the cape was and more how dominant he was in NXT.
That would be awesome. That would be.
I hope they do something like that, because they can't. Really, they can't. There's no way to. He's been such an overly nice heel. Face. They have to explain why he just destroyed everybody.
Yeah, and it can be, and it just frustration is the perfect way to do it. But yeah, he got a huge pop when he showed up, and then when he just destroyed them all, and there were some "Thank You Neville" chants. That was one of the coolest moments of the whole night, I thought. Him coming back. And you're right, he looked ripped. He's always looked ripped. He's if he just didn't have those ears, I think he would have been, if he didn't have those ears and if he was 6 inches taller, he would have been world champion by now. But man, he that was great. I enjoyed that a lot.
Like the weight that he lost was kind of, like I said, it was funny because I wouldn't have thought that he needed to lose weight, but he shredded up, and that core area was just like, oh my god, you really put in some work there, and I was him, and then so that was cool, and just the reaction he got from blowing everybody away, because I felt like one of two things needed to happen tonight, and neither one did. But what they did was so much better. I felt like TJP needed to go heel. I felt like a long time his character works as a heel. And when people don't cheer you, they're so more willing to boo you. So that needed to happen. And if they're bringing Neville back, I think he has to be champion fairly quickly, because he's the name that they need. You try to get their division over, because you could see they're trying to bring in the names. They're bringing in him. When Aries is healed, he's going to be in the CWC. They're bringing in. They are really trying to out ROH.
And as I love ROH, so I'm going to enjoy the heck out of this. And yeah, he needs to get that championship pretty quickly, and he needs to hold on to it for a very long time. He needs to be a very dominant. Have tons of great matches, but he needs to hold on to that for a while. Kind of like he held on to the NXT title for a really long time. And he made a lot of people look really good in the process, but he was always just that much better.
Yeah, he made Tyson Kidd look amazing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, those two had such great chemistry.
Yeah.
Well, next up was what should have been, I think, the last match of the night. But considering post-match shenanigans that happened later, I guess I understand why. Charlotte taking on Sasha Banks for the WWE Raw Women's Championship in a 30-minute Iron Man match. So yeah, this was okay.
I truly believe, because of the amount of spots they missed, it was probably the worst of the matches that they have. You even had one of the falls that happened, because it goes a long time before there's a fall, which I thought was pretty cool. But one of the falls ends up being a botch.
Yeah, maybe it's just to the point where they've worked so much together. Those two need to be separated for a very long time. One, that we've seen it too much and we're tired of it. Two, I think they might even subconsciously be tired of working together, because it's just not doing much anymore. That it did come down to going into OT, and as you predicted, Charlotte wins. They're not dumping her pay-per-view winning streak at a super-duper C-level pay-per-view show that no one gave two rips about. And something happened to Sasha during overtime. She got busted open in the nose or something. She was bleeding from her mouth, nose area pretty bad. But she eventually tapped out to the figure 8, and it's over, and they can both move on to other things now. Thank God.
Yeah, hoping, and rarely does this happen. I hope they go ahead and move Sasha to either put her with Nia Jax to try to get Nia Jax over. I would rather they move her to SmackDown because her and Charlotte need to be away from each other like hardcore. Now, then I think that's the best way to do it. I thought they should have done it with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, but they chose not to. So I hope they do it with Charlotte and Sasha, because the only way this rivalry will work, as far as it, I think she needs to be in it for like a year. I mean, she needs to be gone.
Yeah, I would say do something where just Sasha isn't on TV for like a month, and then her show up on SmackDown. And that would be cool. But yeah, this match was sadly disappointing, and this kind of killed the crowd at the end, because the crowd really wanted Sasha, I think, to win this, but. Man, Charlotte's a good heel, and she held up the 4 horsemen symbol, or 4 horsewomen, depending on...
celebrating the fact that she's a 4-time champion.
Oh, Durka. I didn't even think about that. Yep, you're right. 4 times. How long has this title been around? Since WrestleMania of last year.
Yeah, not even... Yeah, so I think I truly think she's going to hold it through Mania now. I don't think they're going to do it. I think they were just saying... The way they were building the storyline, it was just that her and Sasha were so even. So hopefully, they give her. Hopefully they give her someone that's, they don't. I don't want to go straight into Bayley before the Royal Rumble. I don't know how they would do that. Maybe Sasha and Bayley, or something like that. I just don't want to go straight to Bayley.
No, and honestly, we don't need the entire main event picture of the women's division being nothing but Charlotte, Bayley, and Sasha. There are other people there that deserve a shot. Yes, they're not as good as those 3. They're the only person really in the entire company who is as good as those 3 is Becky Lynch and probably Asuka down in NXT. But yeah, just get other people in there. Let's get these girls away from each other and do other things. And this is one of the dilemmas with this brand split and the fact that you have 6 people on each roster. It makes it really limiting what you can do, and especially in the down times, that's when you're really going to see it, or you're going to get extended feuds between 2 people when everyone's to the point at the end, please, dear God, let this end already. We don't want to see these 2 wrestle again.
And that's sad because they are good and what they're doing in the division, but yeah, they are limited in themselves. They're basically telling people indirectly that these are the only 2 people worth watching.
Exactly.
Like I said, I feel like it's went on too long. I truly do believe that feud has went on too long, and one person had to win the feud, and when you think about it, no one did. 3 every title match, it changed hands, so no one actually won this feud.
Yeah, other than you can make the argument that since in this particular match, Charlotte won more falls.
Yeah,
but didn't they have a best 2 out of 3 falls match, or did they?
I don't think they have. I think that's probably the one stipulation they haven't had. They ran through the gauntlet of, hey, everybody, look, this is history and everything, and it's it stopped being historic because they just kept throwing them in different matches and saying this is the first or second time ever it's happened.
Yeah, we need to just...
Yeah, it's if you're going a women's revolution, it's great, but this seemed like a Sasha and Charlotte revolution.
Exactly, and at least on SmackDown, they've done a better job of making that division about everyone, because everyone has been involved. There's,
they made you care about something other than the title, which if anyone listens to me, I think is very important, because wrestling can't just be about the titles, because if it's just about the titles, then every other match is useless.
Exactly. Well, moving on to the main event, Roman Reigns challenging for the Universal Championship against Kevin Owens. Pittsburgh, like Philly, not a fan of Roman Reigns. And this clunky, I think, is a good word. You said there was a lot of clunky in this show. I thought this match was fairly clunky. The couple things I like, the frog splash through the table, great spot. The fact that when Roman Reigns did kick out of the pop-up powerbomb, it was by putting his foot on the rope. That at least wasn't a full kick out, thank God.
He completely no-sold the cannonball. That pissed me off. You have a 300-pound man running and flipping into you. You can't no-sell that.
Yeah. The main part of this story, though, is there was, shenanigans at the end. Chris Jericho comes out, causes a DQ, and basically tells Owens, "No, I'm on your side." Though, is he? He gave
him a code breaker, and I think that was like, okay, I'm getting my frustration out, but we're still best friends.
Yeah. And then the Shield, 2/3 of the Shield reunited and laid waste.
Yeah, I love how the fact that, again, and I bring this up because I truly believe it, I love how the fact that Roman Reigns can completely forget the fact that this dude's been destroying him. Every time anything good happens in his career, who comes and destroys him? Seth Rollins, his good buddy. But guess what? I'm gonna come out. I'm gonna work right with him because we're friends again.
Yep, but that's wrestling, man. That is quintessential wrestling right there.
I say that's why people compare it to a soap opera, because there's heel and face turns in soap operas, and they pretty much work the same way.
Exactly. So that was the final pay-per-view of 2016, and in a way, it's kind of fitting because it was pretty meh, and 2016 is probably going to go down in the history books as a pretty meh to crappy year. So it's fitting that the last pay-per-view of the year just was kind of there.
Yeah. Like I said, well, generally the B shows or the C pay-per-views this year have been managed to be very good. And I was really looking forward to this one because I thought it was going to be one of those ones where you went in not expecting much, and then it just blew all your thought processes out the water. It did not. It did not even a little bit. It didn't make me entertained. It didn't make me look forward to the best thing. It didn't make me look forward to Raw tonight, that's the worst thing, is that it didn't make me look forward to Raw tonight, which is, I truly think that's what it should do. It should make you look forward to the next show.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. I mean, Raw's tonight. We'll watch it at some point. And
KO and Jericho versus Seth and Roman in the main event. I'm calling it now because that just seems like what it set up. It set up the next week's Raw. And no, they might not do it because they might just, play off the fact that KO and Jericho might be hurt or whatever, but like I said, it's just I'm not even somewhat excited about tonight.
Agreed. Well, on that note, we're going to get out of here. Make sure to check out the show each and every Sunday, except this coming Sunday, at the social medias. Around the Ring OK is the handle. Our webpage, aroundtheringok.wordpress.com. At some point, I will throw down some cash and get a better URL for that. And send us some email, aroundtheringok@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. And what are your thoughts on Roadblock End of the Line? Make sure to leave us some comments in the comment section below. And again, please hit the like and subscribe button so you can see anytime we put videos up. We do a weekly podcast, like we mentioned, and every week on the show we have a segment called the Top 5. And I make sure to put those segments each week on our YouTube channel as a way for folks to see what we're doing. And we did a full prediction show yesterday for the pay-per-view. So before you listen to this, well, or if you've already listened to this, go back and see how wrong we were or right we were on our predictions. But in the meantime, thanks for everyone for listening. We appreciate it. And have a safe and Merry Christmas, guys. Y'all take care.